beginning of April 1st of your life. I mean, this is a really good day if we allow it to be. How many of you guys started your day good? Put a G in the chat. Seriously. And if you start your day kind of grumpy or frustrated, let's just classify it as F for frustrated, not F the other word, F for frustrated, right? Put an F in the chat if you had a bit of a frustrating moment. Put a G if it started off good. Put it out there. Let's put it out there because this is a human moment, right? And in human moments, there are human days, and sometimes emotionally we get taken out, and other times it's like, the atmosphere is perfect and we're productive, we're ready to go, and we're happy. How many of you guys know your emotions are the thing that either have you succeed or they don't? Do you know that? Your emotions play a huge part in your success. How many of you guys know that your ability to sell something comes down to selling an emotion, not a product or a service? How many of you guys know that? Right? So let me ask you something. If I just say it out loud in your own space right now. If you speak out loud in your own space right now, and I want to see you guys who are on Zoom with me, you guys on social media, what up? But you guys on Zoom with me, I want to actually see your mouth moving. Talk about like what you do for a living. Just right now, just play with me here. Just start talking out loud about what you do for a living. Come on, just talk. If I don't see your mouth moving, then you are not coachable. Be coachable. Speak about it. Okay, good. So good. I mean, some of you guys are still staring at me and just either had a grumpy morning and your face was like, oh, or you're just smiling, you're not playing the game. Okay, stop. Okay, so here's the thing. So just notice, did you talk about your product or service, or did you say something like, hi, my name's Shanda Sumpter, and I help people get emotionally free around cash flow. I help them get confident about what their superpower is and be able to put that into a plan so that they can really bank and rely on whatever efforts that they're putting out there, they're going to see a return on. And so really, I'm in the business of freedom. Right? And so now here in that next moment, I could now put a uniqueness, because there's a lot of people in that business, right? There's a lot of people who's in the health industry, put an H in the chat. Who's in the health industry, put an H in the chat. Who's in the trauma industry or helping people with grief or trauma or leadership or whatever, put a T in the chat for trauma, right? We're kind of all in the trauma business, but the T for trauma. Who's in the relationship world, put an R. Who's in the copywriting or marketing, put a C or an M in the chat, right? Who's in social media support, put an S in the chat, right? And so this is a big deal, right? And so there's a lot of people in all of your industries. Who's in the animal world? You're a vet, or you help people with their animals, put an A in the chat, right? And I could go on, right? There's gardening, there's, network marketing. Who's in network marketing? Put N for network marketing in the chat, right? And so here's the thing. There's a lot of people in all these industries. And I know that we all like to pretend that all of our stuff is unique, but the truth is you're unique. And what makes you unique is literally your leadership. Okay? And we're gonna get organized today. But I want you to push on this all month in April. Okay, so I'm gonna see if I can bring some power to you. If you've already done our leadership program, awesome, take it to the next level. Okay, I'm always working on my leadership. And so what I mean by this is how you see your customer, client, patient, rep, whatever you call your buyer. This is the reason why they buy, is your leadership. And when you can see somebody's success, or another way of saying it, you can see somebody's relief, right? And when you can see that, the way that your ability to articulate that has everything to do with what you see. Okay, so I'm a really big fan on everybody as a salesperson, because you've all sold something that you believed in. And somehow you had the right words, you had the right positioning, like you actually had all the goods. Do you guys hear what I'm saying? Like you had it, like the person you were talking to, you were completely convicted, which brings me to this. Who are you talking to? Are you talking to everybody? Right? You guys in network marketing, I see you guys do this all the time. You just freaking talk to everybody. It's such a huge mistake, right? If you're doing well, you could be doing so much better by deciding on a group of people you want to talk to, right? Because single stay-at-home moms have different problems than working moms. Are there some crossover? Yes. There's some emotional crossover because they're both female and they're both a mom. There's some emotional crossover, but if you build your cash flow on emotional crossover, it will lack urgency, which means that you need to have a lot of it. You actually need to be really good. Everybody who's a copywriter, put a C in the chat or put copy in the chat. Anybody who's a copywriter, put copy in the chat. You need one of these people if you insist on hanging out in that arena because they need to coach you about courage, taking a stand, and not being in an invisible world of buyers. Does that make sense? Because the crossover, the intersection between multiple different buyers. So people are like, well, I help women, or I help men, or I help dads, or I help, I want you to get organized for April. Who wants April to be explosive? Who wants April to be explosive? I see heaven's trying to come down again. I mean, you're always welcome, but who wants to be explosive, right? In April. Okay, so you need to listen to me, and you need to listen all the way to the end of this live today. I'm going to push a lot on this topic, but I'm going to organize you in a way that if you made a commitment, who wants to make a commitment, put C. If you made a commitment, right, to just answer the pieces I put out, I want you to make decisions as I'm training. I'll tell you this is a decision moment. Okay, if you could do that and just not overthink. Overthinking is overcommitted people. You show me people overthinking, I will show you an overcommitment. And that equals death. They are always disappointed. They never hit the market the way they could. They always end up failing. Okay, so a couple things on leadership. One, you want to expand your bandwidth. How do you do that? Emotions. Who listened to my pocket coaching that went out today? If you didn't, I'll explain it again. Your solution is to become flexible and a non-negotiable. Non-negotiable on what? Your goal. Okay? Non-negotiable on your goal. So, true story, it's actually his birthday tomorrow. I signed up and I invested $25,000 to spend a day with a friend of mine, right? So it's not okay, you guys, to just pick people's minds. People who actually, their business is to give advice, you can't just go pick their minds. The amount of people who send me a message, I'm in Puerto Rico, I'm in California, can I meet you for dinner, lunch, coffee? I just want to pick your mind. That's called a VIP day. Okay, that's what I get paid for. Does that make sense? So I invested. So obviously friends, when we sit around a table, we help each other a lot. But if you need to go deeper on something, we invest. So I invested $25,000. Some of you guys might have heard this story before. So a couple years ago. I invested that $25,000 to figure out how to grow my company through buying companies. Okay? I did not get this in the VIP day. That was not covered. It did not happen. And I came home and this was a win for me. Why? Because I'm a non-negotiable. I'm a non-negotiable on my goal. Does that make sense? And so I wanted to grow my company by buying businesses, and my friend said, Shanda, your company is not set up for that. It's just, I'm not going to recommend that's a good strategy. So we spent the rest of the day talking about other things. Okay, how many of you guys are in a relationship right now, either professional or personal, that you're not getting what you need? Okay, you need to organize yourself. You need to organize yourself. Okay, and so I'm going to help you do that in this live. Okay, so if it's personal, I gave this advice to my son this morning, funny enough, who's only 9 and we're much older than him, all of us, right? And he said, you know what, Mom, I want my dad to spend enough time with me. Why doesn't he spend enough time with me? Do you guys know how much time Ash spends with Zach? In the last week, he's gone surfing with him twice. Okay, he has watched 2 movies with him, but Zach said he only watched part movies because he fell asleep. So you want to talk about an analyzer, he's like keeping the full record of everything, right? He has, I don't know how many books he's read with him, a few, right, where he sat, and then they've gone running. That's just in the last week. Okay, I don't know about you, but I never had a parent that was working that did all of that. Oh, and he's gone fishing with him. 2 surfs, 2 movies, fishing, a run, and some books. I'm like sitting there going, so I said to my son, I said, instead of making him wrong about it, I realized that my son was looking at the gap and not the gain, right? And it becomes a blind spot, and then the relationship goes off the Richter scale, right? He believes what he's saying, but it's not necessarily 100% accurate. However, what if his dad spent no time with him and he was 100% right that this relationship is not good enough? Right? This is in business, this is everywhere, not getting your needs met, not getting what you need. And I said, Zach, go get grandma's extra calendar. He goes, why? And I go, because you need to look at your calendar and you need to put the things in your calendar that are important to you. And you need to own that. So if you're not getting your needs met and you feel like people are letting you down, then you need to take control of that and you need to get it in the calendar. And you need to go make sure that there's a mommy date and a Zachy date, a daddy date and a Zachy date, a grandma date. His love language is time. Do you know what I mean? Like he really, if you spend even 15, 20 minutes walking with my son down the street, he will be cuddling with you by the end of the day. Like you'll just find that he's like just moving right up to you, right? Like that's Zach, right? That's his love language is time. Okay. And so when I look at what I've invested in financially or personally, I don't lose because I'm flexible in my thinking and I'm a non-negotiable to get an ROI. What does that mean? I quit nothing. Okay, so here's my standard for April. If you have a goal, and I want you to revisit your goals. Okay, so first write a list really quick, like just jot down a piece of paper. Where are you not getting what you need right now, either business, personal life, whatever, just jot it down. Just jot it down. Hopefully you don't have 20 things on that list. Okay, but just jot it down. Where are some areas that truly you're not getting what you need? Right? Now, I want you to ask yourself, if you put more than 2 on there, what are the biggest priorities here? Like right now, my parenting is not always a number 1 priority because my son isn't like, he's not in such a deficit with me. Do you know what I mean? Like he never falls that far on the Richter scale that he becomes like, we've got a mayday, we have a problem, because he's in the schedule. Does that make sense, you guys? So I have hit borderline mommy guilt, but I have never gotten full-blown mommy guilt because he's just in the schedule. Where it will get me is if I miss a soccer practice or something. If that happens 2 times in a row, that's where I get resentful. I don't get mommy guilt, but I get resentful. I'm actually more upset that I'm missing out on him than him missing out on me. Does that make sense? Because he's that valuable to me. That's just how I have it wired. Does that make sense? And none of you guys can coach me out of that because those are my standards. Does that make sense? So this is why if somebody feels like you're letting them down or somebody's letting you down, the challenge with fighting that in leadership is these are their standards. So you have to make agreements. And the agreements come down to the calendar. If you're not willing to put it in the calendar, you have to ask yourself if you're really committed to this. You got it? So I quit nothing. I don't quit. I've never quit a coach. I've never not paid my coaching bills. I've never not paid my virtual assistant bills. I've never done that. To me, that was a slippery scale of me failing out on myself. Now, if I had done that, I would fix it. I would go renegotiate, see if I could go. I did this with a credit card once. I had a credit card balance that got really big, and I was in the process of building my business and I couldn't pay it. I went and I settled with the credit card company. Does that make sense, you guys? And so I called them up and I said, listen, I'm not gonna be able to pay this, but I can pay this. Will you take this? And I closed down on credit card that way. Now, I didn't know that actually hurts your credit, but closing credit cards and stuff like that at that time, but I learned, right? My point is that everything is negotiable, but get your integrity right. If you wanna have an explosive April, your integrity has to be on point. Write that down. Where are you breaking your integrity? And just be courageous enough. You guys, do you know that you can call cable companies, you can call, and I'm not saying, like, I'm just using this as an example. There are areas in your life right now that you could negotiate that you're not negotiating. And so you just let yourself go out of integrity. Well, that doesn't work. You know why? Because if you think you're an SHI, you know what? Right? Like, because you know, when you don't do what you say you're going to do, even if you justify it, you know that this isn't new. And if you keep operating like this, you'll never get out because you can't work your way out of bad integrity. But you can negotiate yourself back into integrity. Does that make sense? Put yes if you understand me. Put yes if that made a difference for you right there. Put yes if you know what you need to do in this area. Okay, so who's going to go focus on that? Put an F in the chat. If there's somewhere in your life, please don't. Thank you. Thank you. You guys are putting an F because you know what I love about you? Not only are you aggressively putting an F right now, but you're not embarrassed, shy, feeling bad about it. You're cleaning it up. Like as if every freaking millionaire, multimillionaire, billionaire has not had a break in integrity before. Of course they have. Because they've played big, right? When you play big in life and you make decisions, well, there are pitfalls that happen that you're not anticipating. That's called wisdom, but it's not wisdom unless your integrity's in check, right? It either goes into wisdom or it goes into fear. Fear will kill your confidence will destroy your cash flow. Do you guys see what I'm saying? So if you have a confidence issue right now, this should be on your to-do list today. And everything else should move to the side. Why? Because this will give you your power back. Who do you need to negotiate with? Who do you need to call and say, I want to make good on my bill, even if you can't pay the whole bill, right? There's a way to be able to clean it up and restart. Now, what does that look like? You don't back off. Do you guys hear what I'm saying? Like, when you set a goal, this is the non-negotiable, say you set a goal and you say, I'm gonna enroll 10 people into something. Well, now I wanna write a book, I wanna do this, I wanna do this. Like everything else, including the fridge, is much more entertaining, right? Like it's like, and it feels like you're working. Okay, here's my code. I said this to our team this morning. Code for overcommitted. I'm working on it. Oh, you tell me you're working on something and I'm about to, like, my head's going to pop off like a bobble, right? Like, it's like, I don't want to hear you're working on it. I want to know what's your commitment, right? You guys who have done our leadership program, you know how well this works. How can so many people who have done our leadership programs hit success? How it's almost all of them, you guys. It's wild, right? In 4 months, people who have disappointed themselves, let themselves off the hook, all of the crap of not being a finisher that's riddled their entire life, and then all of a sudden they finish, they become a finisher on a big goal in 4 months. Why? How is that possible? Because they become a non-negotiable. And everybody in their ecosystem, their coaches, their consultants, don't buy the BS. They don't buy the justification, right? I'm going to tell you, almost none of us have friends and family around us that will not buy our BS. Almost none of us. And some of you guys are fighting with somebody in your life that's calling you higher and they won't buy it and you're actually making them wrong. I'm telling you, it is a blessing if you have somebody in your life that will not buy your justification of backing down. Okay? So I have a rule And my rule is if I say I'm going to enroll 10 people, or I say I'm going to do this, or I say I do this, I don't get off that goal until I hit it. Does that make sense? And so I'd recommend that for you for April. Okay, so now I'm gonna go back to organizing yourself. Who are you talking to? And are you talking to somebody that you've actually written out where their problems are? So here's my homework for everybody watching on social. And then on social, I'll be back with you tomorrow. I'm gonna be hanging out here with our group on Zoom. And so I'm gonna go coach you guys on Zoom, make sure that you guys don't jump off. This is our $30 a month membership that I go deep with you guys and help you really close the gaps in your life. Okay, and this will compound for you guys. Everybody watching on social, here's my coaching for you. This is your homework. Your homework is, I want you to look, where are you out of integrity? And what do you need to do to get back of integrity? I want you to be a non-negotiable, and this is how you become a non-negotiable. I know there's a way we can work this out. There's got to be a way that we can work this out. If there was a way that we could work this out, what would you propose we do? Okay, so you are relentless on repositioning that language. So somebody says, Eddie, I'm sorry, there's just nothing I can do. Okay, I hear you, but if there was something for you to do, there's got to be a way to work this out. If there was something that we could do to figure this out so I can get in integrity with you, what will we do? Personal life. I know we've been fighting, things have been bad, but here's the thing. I really want to be on the same page with you. I really want to be in partnership with you, and I know that I have my part. And so if we were going to be able to create a safe place to be able to hear each other, or if we were, you know what I mean? Like the person will tell you what the problem is. So you got to go into the problem. See, if you keep focusing on getting your language heard in your personal life, you haven't satisfied the person. You haven't been the bigger leader. Do you guys hear what I'm saying? Like you have to first neutralize somebody else so that they feel heard before you can be heard. Do you understand that? So if you're in a personal life situation where you are so freaking frustrated, I'm telling you the way through is to literally go to that person and just say, listen, here's my intention. I want us to be on the same page. I love you. I care about you, whatever, right? Whatever's true. Our friendship, whatever's true. And I know I have my part. And what I've heard you say is this is the problem. If we were to solve this problem, what would you think we would do? Well, I don't think it's solvable. Okay, but if it was solvable, what do you think we need to do? Right? And you just neutralize things. And they will come up with it. My son almost always says to me, I'm like, what are you grateful for today? He says, I don't know. What are you thankful for? I don't know. I'm like, well, if you did know. If you did know, what would it be? I don't know. But what if you did know? But the third time I ask him, he always gives me something. It never fails. But I've learned to have faith in this modeling of questioning because it always leads to completion. I'm not working on a relationship. I'm not working on a campaign. I'm completing something today. Okay? So my homework for you, other than getting into integrity, for everybody watching, period, on Zoom or social, but Zoom, I'm going to go deeper with you. My homework for you is to start this process of completing getting into integrity. Be relentless, be a non-negotiable, and be flexible in the way that you keep asking the question. Do not lose your emotions anywhere. If you do, you've lost. And all you're telling yourself is you can't handle it. And so you can justify the trigger, the emotional roller coaster. You can justify it all day long. I'm just not interested in April being about you being right about these things. I'm interested in seeing you get through them. And the only way we can get through them is to stop battling about justifying the quit. Okay, you don't quit on people, you don't quit on projects, you don't quit. You get to a resolution. Does that make sense? You get to a completion. So the homework is I want you to set a really great goal that if you looked at the end of April and you said, gosh, that was a really good month, what would that be for you? So if you know what that is right now, put it in the chat. What would be a really great month? We're going to spend all month really showing you how to take action, right? We're going to show you how to take action. We're going to show you how to win, right? And so we're going to have some real conversations here. Well, how are you leading your thoughts? How are you leading your emotions? How are you leading your actions? How are you leading your goals, right? So what would make April a really great month? At the end of April, you actually could feel like you could take a break because you actually, like, your confidence grew, your happiness grew, your conviction on what you're doing grew. What would just make it a good month for you? Go ahead and put it in the chat if you know. Right? If you don't know, then that should be you're going to sit with that and really walk around and get clear about what that would be for you. Okay, the more you are emotionally vested in this. So you guys would put 100 people on your list, or $10,000 revenue, or 5 high-paying clients, or 5,000. Don't put 5 to 10,000. Which one is I would feel good about myself, like commitment, right? Like stand on a commitment. I don't care what your commitment is, you know where you're at, right? And so make that decision. So when you put that goal, I want you to ask yourself, and I would like you to journal about this today. What will you feel like? What will be the relief in your life? Why will you feel relief in your life? And I want you to get intimately connected to that. Are you guys good with that? Is that a yes? Are we good with that? Put yes if it is. Okay, so you guys on social, I'm going to send you off to go do your homework, send you so much love. I'll be here tomorrow, which is Tuesday, April 2nd. I'm going to take you on the next step. This month can be explosive. It's not going to be complicated. It's going to be simple. But it is going to require you to show up, to watch these lives. If you have to watch the replay, and you guys on social watching the replay, put a hashtag replay. So I know how many people are actually watching the replay. But it's going to take some coachability. How many guys are coachable? Put coach in the chat. How many guys are coachable? Put coach in the chat. Are you willing to let me coach you for the next 15 days? And if you are, I'm going to show you how to step out proper leadership to be able to take action on the things that are going to produce a result for you. If you are out of integrity on things, it's going to make it really hard for me to be able to even help you get messaging, because you will feel like there's something wrong. Okay? And if you, under the surface, are feeling that, then what's going to happen is it's almost like having, like, nobody knows this about me. Do you know what I mean? And the problem is it creates a disconnection between what you're trying to do. So in other words, if you don't want to work harder with less results, then make sure you attend every single training this month. You guys hear what I'm saying? Put yes if you do. Okay? And if you can't attend, watch the replay, but it better be in your calendar. I go live at 9 a.m. California time, Monday through Friday, 12 noon Eastern, Florida time, New York time. I go live at that time, Monday through Friday. You ready? Okay, I'm gonna be checking on homework. Let's see who's coachable. Bye, social media, sending you so much love. Please feel free to share this live. I'd appreciate it, and I'll see you tomorrow.